Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I want to talk about Lillith, and kind of the weird situation with her talents, where some people will tell you, hey, Curse of the Cord is where it's at when it comes to healing. Pick that talent, there you go, you're doing great. While other people will say, nah, you should be picking Murderous Intent. It's a lot better late game, and that's generally the talent you actually want to be picking with Lillith. If you look at the actual pick rates of these talents, you'll see that Curse of the Cord is picked more than Murderous Intent, but Murderous Intent is still picked a fair bit. And so I want to discuss kind of when you might want to pick either of these two talents, depending on the situation and depending on your own skill level with Lillith as well. And we're also, of course, going to be taking a look at this lovely new Lillith skin, Heartless Pharaoh. I really like this skin. This is amazing, especially because she finally has a skin that isn't really frickin' annoying. I'm still so salty about that first skin she got, man. That Star Sister skin, oh, it was so bad. But before we get into the actual commentary and the gameplay, I do want to remind you that I'm trying to make sort of mini guides recently where I play a champion like Lillith here and we discuss certain gameplay elements about her. Like yesterday I did a video on Extension Ray versus Focus Ray and why Focus is better. And so if you have an idea for something you want to see me cover, please comment that down below. I'll try to get to as many of those ideas as I can. I think this one was suggested in the comments, and the last video was also suggested in the comments of the Maeve video I did a few days ago. So yeah, just comment that down below. But yeah, let's get into the gameplay. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to be playing Curse of the Cord because it is simply the easier talent, and I want to focus on the commentary. This will allow me to be a bit more brain dead. But yeah, we also have this healing build here, pretty generic, symbiotic relationship, Waning Moon, Blood Cannon. It allows us to heal our teammates, be efficient, and stay alive. So let's do that, and let's head out. I'm just going to kind of pop, probably just back here, honestly. We'll get the Hex out there for you, since you're flanking, and get a Swarm on Nyx. So let's talk about these talents, and I guess generally discuss the pros and cons of both talents. So Curse of the Cord is... oh my gosh, I'm getting lit up by this guy. Oh, he's behind me. Hold on. I hope we're okay. I think we're okay, right? Yeah, we're okay. So Curse of the Cord allows you to, A, get a lot more healing than you can with Murderous Intent. It increases your healing by quite a lot, and it also allows you to have more survivability in the sense that you are going to be consuming less blood health for your abilities, meaning you're taking less damage from yourself. And that also makes your Hex more efficient in healing you back up because there's less health to actually heal back up. So it's generally good for your survivability as well. However, there is one major drawback, and that is that it nerfs your damage. Curse of the Cord does a huge hit to your damage, and it's not just your primary fire, it's also your Swarm. And you shouldn't underestimate how valuable the Swarm can be, right? The Swarm can give you a lot of extra damage if you just put it on a point and have the enemy tank bathe in it. Bro, I am getting bullied right now. What the heck is this enemy team? They are focusing me so hard. But yeah, it really nerfs your damage, and that is a problem for two different reasons. First of all, straight up, it's just harder to kill enemies. So if someone tries to flank you, you're going to have a much harder time actually defending yourself. Yeah, you might be able to stay alive slightly better, but you're not going to really be able to hurt them as hard. And especially when they compound that with Haven, you're going to be doing basically no damage. So that is a very big problem. But also, you... hello. Dude, I am almost dead, and I am in my spawn. What is this enemy team? Anyways, but also, you will generally be less effective late game as well, because you will be doing less healing in late game. Every healer does less healing in late game. That's just how healing works. But then you'll also be doing less damage in late game. And so you'll just be, overall, a less valuable asset to your team. She is just too far up, man. I cannot heal her reliably. We are playing so spread out right now. Please, just try and group up. So yeah, being much less effective in late game is pretty bad, because if a match isn't over quickly, yeah, that's just a bad thing, right? You don't want to be just really hampered in your effectiveness late game. That's just not good. And then there's also one minor drawback to Curse of the Cord, and that's kind of a... I don't know if it's a bug or just... I don't really know what it is with it. But for some reason, the Hex doesn't get the bonus healing as much as you might think it does. It only gets the bonus healing on the first tick of the healing. Everything else is exactly the same. I don't know if that's been changed or fixed recently, but last I heard that was the case. And so it's generally pretty rough. Because, yeah, that means you don't get as much healing for yourself, and it means you're also not healing your teammates as much as you think you are with Curse of the Cord when hexing them. So, yeah, that is kind of a minor drawback as well, but the Swarm still does a lot more healing, and so, you know, it's not totally useless. And also, that increased efficiency on the blood health is pretty nice. But yeah, now let's talk about Murderous Intent. Why would you pick Murderous Intent over Curse of the Cord, even if you're the solo healer on your team? Is that not the damage talent? Well, yes, it is the damage talent. But, first and foremost, Lillith is a really strong healer in base kit. Oh my god, he just headshot me. Okay, let's get that hex out. Let's just hide behind this wall. Stand in the swarm! Thank you. Throw this up here as well. So yeah, her healing output is really good. Do not sleep on it, right? That's why Lillith is basically the third most powerful healer in the game right now. Because, yeah, she is able to pump out godlike healing, while also being pretty much a tank and also having a decent amount of damage. And so you're losing healing when you're playing Murderous Intent, but you're still able to be a perfectly viable and effective healer for your team. And that is... well, that's nice, right? And then, by playing Murderous Intent, you are able then to not have to deal with the damage penalty of picking Curse of the Cord, meaning you are able to defend yourself a lot better, and you're able to be a lot more effective in late game because your swarms and your weapons shots are still doing full damage. So, that is a very good reason to pick Murderous Intent, right? Hello! Dude, everyone is behind us? Hello? Okay. And yeah, that is the main reason why people pick that talent over Curse of the Cord. But it's not without its drawbacks either. For one thing, you don't have the extra survivability of Curse of the Cord, because Curse of the Cord means that you're draining less blood health from yourself, right? And so it's a lot harder to stay alive. You have to have much better resource management when you're playing Murderous Intent. And also it makes your weapon shots harder to hit. So if you're bad at hitting your weapon shots, you'll end up actually probably doing less damage with Murderous Intent than you would be otherwise. So that can also be a bad thing for you as well, but really it's mostly just a skill issue if that's actually the case. So it's not without its flaws either. And yeah, that's why it's kind of interesting to see the dynamic there, where some people will pick one talent over the other, and you do see a bit of variety there. So, with that being said, when should you pick either talent? Well, first of all, Curse of the Cord. Hello. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna ult. First of all, Curse of the Cord is just straight up the easier talent. So if you are a beginner Lillith, or you're generally kind of a lower skill player, like you're in gold or something, then yeah, Curse of the Cord is probably the talent you want to go. Because more survivability is good, easier weapon shots are good, and more healing means you are more forgiving for your team, right? So you will generally be able to be more effective easier. But if you are a higher skill player who's better at Lillith, better at hitting weapon shots, better at managing your resources, then in late game you could get a lot more value out of Murderous Intent by maintaining that full 100% damage, right? So that is something as well to consider. And in general, I think that's kind of the dynamic of these two talents. Like, I struggle to think of too many situations where you might just want to pick Curse of the Cord, even if you are a super high skill Lillith. Perhaps if the enemy team has a bunch of damage and you really want to maximize the amount of healing and self-sustain you have for general survivability. Or maybe you have like Inara Nyx on your team and you want to just make them immortal. That could be a reason to pick Curse of the Cord over Murderous Intent. It does kind of depend, I guess. But it is just sort of an interesting dynamic that I thought I would point out in this video. And also something else I want to point out is I've been buying morale boosts this entire time. Why have I not been buying Chronos? Well, that is because Chronos is interesting on Lillith compared to a lot of other supports. For most supports, it's pretty straightforward. You just buy Chronos, right? Grover? Yeah, just buy Chronos. Grok? Yeah, just buy Chronos. Damba? Buy Chronos. Everyone buys Chronos. But Lillith, well, you have to keep in mind that when you use your abilities with Lillith, you are actually draining your own HP as well. So you need to be extra careful with how much you spend your abilities. If you buy Chronos, and you don't have the self-sustain to maintain that increased drain on your blood health, then you are going to end up taking a lot more damage. And that's pretty bad, right? You don't want to take too much damage. Why is she not getting healed by that swarm, please? Oh gosh, I'm just gonna try and stay on this side of the shield. I don't know what's happening. Uh-oh. Hello. Okay. So, the way I usually think about Chronos is, if I am able to buy enough sustain, or I'm not taking that much damage from the enemy team, then Chronos is an option that might free itself up for me. Or if I'm running a really efficient... Hello. Okay. Or if I'm running a really efficient build, right? That's the other way. I could do that. Dude, we are getting spawn camp right now. What is this team doing? Okay. So yeah, if I'm playing, whatchamacallit, Curse of the Cord, then I have a lot of extra efficiency on the drain of my blood health. I can much more easily run Chronos, right? So, I can see you. God, this was kind of a hopeless match. But yeah, if I'm running Curse of the Cord, then I can easily buy Chronos, because I'm being really efficient with my actual drain of the blood health, and so it's, you know, it's less demanding. But if I'm playing Murderous Intent, I don't have that increased efficiency. It's generally a much better idea to maybe forsake Chronos and instead pick up some morale boost, maybe. If I'm able to buy Kill to Heal, though, then I can maybe justify buying Chronos, because I'll have that extra sustain to be able to maintain that increased demand on my blood health. You could also maybe consider Life Rip, but the thing about Life Rip is that it just sucks. It's really bad. Like, it just falls off super hard in late game, because if you're getting value out of Life Rip, then chances are the enemies are shooting you, right? You shoot the enemies, they shoot back. Your Life Rip is almost always being cauterized, and so when late game comes around, that item is just completely ineffective. And Lilith doesn't do that much damage on her weapon shots to begin with, so Life Rip generally just doesn't make sense. So I wouldn't recommend Life Rip. But yeah, Chronos, I think it's much easier to buy that on Curse of the Cord than it is to buy it on Murderous Intent. You just gotta be careful, because you don't want to be draining too much blood health from yourself. It's all about that resource management. So that's something very, very important. But yeah, geez, this match was super, super rough. I mean, I got more kills than our Kinessa. Was she Oppression? I thought I saw... Yeah, she's Oppression. I thought I saw that Octopresser working. Oh my god, she just threw that game. Yeah, no wonder they were in our backline farming us. Jeez, that's rough. Well, it is what it is. It's just a casual match, and I was spending the entire match trying to commentate. That's kind of the problem with doing these videos, is I will just talk and talk and talk about the champion, and my gameplay just goes... It just suffers. It's so bad. It goes into the basement. It's so terrible. But we still managed to get 100,000 healing there, so I will take that. Of course, going Curse of the Cord there with a Nyx, who has Rejuve 3, will ultimately get me top healing on the team and top healing in the lobby. So that's just kind of an easy feat to do with Lilith. But yeah, I hope this video helped understand why some people say, hey, go Curse of the Cord. Why some people go Murderous Intent solo healer and actually end up doing pretty well. It's usually because Murderous Intent is a lot more skillful playstyle, but if you do have that skill, then it can be a lot more rewarding if you're able to do that damage and continue to give the team all the healing that they need. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you thought it was helpful, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.